Claire, where do you find them? It's the thing I've been bursting to say since we watched this last night.
Yeah, so as I say, it was on a list of underrated films.
Okay.
And I thought I'd suggest it, and I'd be interested to know what everyone thinks.
So you hadn't seen it before?
No, I
Had
knew
anyone
nothing
seen it
about
before?
it.
No.
The Woman Chaser?
I think there's a chance no one has ever seen it before. Definitely had the feeling of, like, we found this tape somewhere. Yeah. It was quite something.
It was excellent.
Did you enjoy
I
it?
thought you would enjoy it. I really thought this is Fernando's type of film. I think.
Brilliant.
Wait, is it from 1999?
Yeah.
I thought it was from the 1800s or something.
Yeah, it really could be a lot older.
Yeah.
When was it set?
50s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, based on the cars and people wearing suits and stuff.
Cool. I'd have guessed maybe the 60s or 70s, but certainly it was not a present day piece when it was released, was it? No.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I still don't know what I thought of it.
Same.
Just
What?
what?
I can say something about what I thought of it.
What did you think of it?
I'm willing to change my mind, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it. Yeah.
I think I might have loved it.
Cool.
I sort of hated it while it was on.
As the only person who's made up their mind, what did you like about it, Fernando?
It reminded me of another movie called Arthur, which perhaps it's somehow related. I mean, it's actually
Is that
not
the
related.
Russell Brand?
Yes, with
I've never
Russell
seen it.
Brand.
Yeah.
And yes, I suppose that the theme is not the same, but it reminded me of recklessness. And everything that is reckless reminds me of Arthur, and I really enjoy Arthur.
Okay.
Interesting.
I wouldn't have said recklessness was the main theme.
Oh, I thought he was. Well, I'm not sure.
I would think that was... I think there's something in that.
There's something in it, yes, but
Recklessness
it
was a
didn't
big
jump out at
theme
me
of it.
immediately.
Oh, I wish you'd asked me to summarise it in one word. Oh, I wonder whether I would have said something like recklessness.
If only we'd predicted your desire to...
If only.
to do that.
Sorry. Do you have a better word that would summarise the film?
Oh,
I've really put you on the spot there.
yeah. Malaise.
Ooh.
Malaise. What does malaise mean?
Do you know that film we watched the other night? It's a bit like that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Laura. I was being silly.
Like, I think, a deeply entrenched boredom.
Oh. Okay.
Deeply
entrenched
boredom.
Like ennui.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Wow.
Maybe a bit less despair than ennui.
Less despairing, okay.
Yeah. Just a resigned sort of...
Listlessness.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Don't know.
Okay. Resigned boredom.
Hmm.
Okay. Malaise.
Relentless, I think.
Okay. Was that the theme of the film, or was that just how you felt
That might have
watching
just
it?
been how I felt watching
Okay.
it. But I certainly drew that out from the main character because I
Okay.
thought he seemed eternally bored with what he was doing until
Eternally
he was got this project and was driven by a need to like perfect it
Oh, I
and
see.
have it be untouched. But I felt like generally he was suffering from terrible boredom for the first half at least.
Yeah, he was definitely... like...
In fact, he said it. I was bored.
Okay.
Literally
I was
says
making
those
so
words.
much money, but I was so bored.
Hmm.
So it's really clever of me to have picked that out and been
It's
like,
good.
I think boredom might be
Well done.
really important here.
Good observation.
It was not that part of the film that stuck with me, though. It was the recklessness. It was the sort of...
how he was a player.
I was going to say his shocking behaviour, or maybe that's a different word for the same thing. Yeah. He... What do you think, Claire?
I found it quite dull to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just. I just don't know.
It's baffling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The baffling
Because
film.
Somewhat baffling.
then at the end they say it was like directed by the character and stuff, don't they? And I found that really.
I found that really weird.
Yeah, I'm sure that was supposed to be like significant, but I just don't. I don't know what it was trying to do or what I was supposed to think or.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he definitely wasn't like a likeable character who you could get involved with and enjoy the story with him or anything like that.
I don't know.
Unless you're Fernando.
I found him quite enjoyable to watch. But then I love Patrick Warburton,
Who's Patrick Warburton?
the main character, the actor.
The actor.
Okay. Right, that's interesting.
Do you know him?
I didn't. I thought that everyone had. I would have guessed that everyone was a totally unknown actor.
No, he's quite famous.
Okay.
He's also in Family Guy.
Really?
It's Joe. Do you watch Family Guy?
Yeah, it's the same voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's Joe?
He's the policeman who lives next door.
I'm not sure.
He's really, really.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you've never seen Family Guy. Yeah, he's got that voice.
Anyway, where did you think the recklessness came from? I'm not sure I do agree with that. I don't think it was about recklessness. But
Well, I think
prove me wrong.
I mean, I'm not sure if he was reckless. I thought that playing with the feelings of many women could have been reckless.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
He did take big risks.
I thought everything he did was reckless.
Yeah.
Do you think? I thought it was quite calculated.
Oh.
I would put recklessness in a kind of like chaotic manner.
Yeah, okay.
He took
Whereas-
so many big risks that it had no indication that they were going to pay off.
Yeah, I suppose.
I thought.
I
And
don't
yeah,
think he did it in a reckless manner though, because he had a goal, and he put everything in place to achieve that goal.
But he put everything in place. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, go.
He put everything in place to achieve that goal, despite what all of the other consequences and side effects would be, whether in his own life or in the feelings of every other character in the film. He just discarded and ignored. He could have, well, as we saw in the end, he was arrested for it. But he could have just lost all his money so many times. There were all these hoops that he was just hoping he'd be able to jump over. And he could have failed at any point, and utterly did fail, and left behind him a string of broken human beings.
And objects.
And objects. And bank accounts.
He did everything in such a calculated, meditated, controlled way. I don't know. Just doesn't ring with my idea of what reckless is.
Reckless. Yeah, it wasn't chaotic. And maybe that's part of being reckless.
Who can say?
Well,
Does it matter? I don't know. Sorry, what were you going to say, Claire?
Oh, I was looking around to see if there was a dictionary.
Oh, good
There's an
idea.
online dictionary.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't trust the online dictionary because
Well,
they'll tell you every word is a word. We know
Run
that. stuff.
through of books. We must have a dictionary.
there's a really reliable
So what
online
is the
dictionary
word?
called Urban Dictionary.
Reckless?
Yes.
Reckless.
Also,
yeah.
the world's best book is behind you, Michael.
The world's best books.
Heedless of danger or the
Couldn't see
consequences
the
of
S.
one's actions. Rash? Yes. Rash or impetuous?
I don't think he was rash or impetuous. However, I think the first part applies. Can you read it again?
Heedless of danger or the consequences of one's actions?
Yes, definitely applies. What was the second part?
Rash or impetuous?
Rash or impetuous. Maybe he was those things. Anyway, we spent quite a long time deciding whether or not he was reckless. What else did we think about him?
I hated him.
Really?
Yeah, it sounds like...
Well, I mean, he was a terrible person.
Yeah. But did you all find him sort of weirdly likeable?
I did.
A bit.
Okay. You didn't.
I didn't like him.
There were things that I really liked about him.
Okay.
For example, when he started dancing with his
Oh,
mother.
that was my favourite scene. I loved that so much.
Artistic.
Oh, no.
It was just so stupid.
What was that about?
Too weird.
That was my favourite part of the whole thing.
I had forgotten about that. I think I'd repressed that memory of the big hairy back.
Yeah, I'd briefly forgotten about that.
Oh,
I think that whole scene was overshadowed by this weird thing with him and his mum
Oh, yes.
that I just couldn't quite get past. Just weird. And I just couldn't stop finding him a bit just repulsive.
yeah, he definitely did the kind of what's his name? Norman
Bates.
Bates thing where he was talking about how gorgeous his mother is and stuff. It was a bit creepy.
I'm sure they had a reason for doing that, though. That was part of this kind of whole spoof film noir thing. I just don't know enough about that genre or what they were playing on to understand what they were doing.
Oh, so this is important. You think it was a spoof?
Yes,
It's like a pastiche of that kind of film.
yes.
Okay.
That's my interpretation of it. That they were just taking the piss the entire time in a very
I mean, that
deadpan
would
way.
give us something, yeah. Because I just had no idea what they were going for the whole film. Right, so they were kind of taking the piss out of
That kind of genre.
art house
Yeah.
films.
Film
The sort of
noir.
smoking man
Film noir.
speaking at the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know about film noir is what I learned from Whose Line Is It Anyway? When you have to do something in the style of film
Oh
noir.
my god, I've not thought about Whose Line in years. God, that was my favourite show for a long
Good
time.
show.
See, that's a proper parody of film noir.
Yeah.
Should have consulted Ryan Stiles.
It was quite dark for something that was a parody.
But I mean, the dancing scene, I don't think it was serious. Because
No,
he's
the
talking about
dancing
how
scene was just so
graceful
silly.
and things he is, but he was just lumbering around,
Yeah, you're
like,
right.
doing the most impressive leaps, and he just sort of jumps a bit in the air. I did find it
I'm not really into ballet. I
really
thought that was
tickled
a
me.
good jump.
See, I was just watching that thinking, well, this is rubbish. Like that, they should have got someone who was a proper dancer because he obviously can't do it.
I think you should rewatch the scene.
I think I'm going to have to now.
No.
I think we should all rewatch the film. And
Let's
watch
rewatch it
every
now.
night.
That podcast.
When?
Someone, I can't remember, my sister listened to it. Someone, they pick a film they hate and they watch it every single day for a year.
Oh, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
For a year.
Yeah. I'll look up what that podcast is called. My sister said it's great podcast.
Cruel and unusual torture.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't hate this movie.
No, I didn't hate it either.
I actually
But
do
then
know
I
a
can't-
person
I
that I'm
imagine-
going to recommend this movie to.
Really?
Yes.
Like a human being?
Yes. Well, my friend Cesar, he studied in St. Andrews here with me during our undergrad. And I
Hey.
would recommend this this evening, yes.
Brilliant.
Wow.
He liked that kind of thing, did he?
I'm actually not always sure, but I would like to know his opinion.
Cool.
I think I would have really hated it if I hadn't thought of it as like a spoof comedy.
Yeah, I think if I had thought of it as a sort of spoof comedy, I might have got a lot more out of it. I was just watching it as like a dead serious film the whole way through.
Oh.
I don't think I laughed once.
What?
Yeah, we didn't laugh.
I
when
was
we were watching it.
just kind of shocked and a bit disgusted by it.
Oh, I found parts of it really tickled me.
Wow.
Like when he just picks up when they're chasing each other on the beach, and he just picks up the woman and like just chucks her really violently into the sea.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. I didn't get it. Oh,
it
wow,
really
we
funny.
watched totally different films, didn't we?
Apparently. Well, no. We watched the same thing. We
It's
just
just
have
all
different-
about the way you look at it. This is not the first time this has happened, and this is the most profound time that it turns out this was a different genre from what I thought it was.
Wait, I did
I
not...
mean, you might be right. It's just the fact that I interpreted it as a comedy that made me like parts of it a lot more.
The thing is, I
maybe
like
if I
Your
watch it
Way
again,
a lot
I
better.
Certainly had many enjoyable aspects when you think, like, yeah, they're not trying to be serious. Yeah.
But then that makes some of the dark stuff quite morbid and horrible.
For example.
Basically, the woman chasing. Every scene with him and one of the women, I found quite a bit upsetting, quite shocking, and quite disgusting. And I thought that was what I was meant to get out of that. I don't know if I was meant to be watching it going, haha, yeah, just like in all the other noir films or something. I just kept thinking, like, wow, this is a really, really horrible man. I hope he comes to no good. Yeah, dreadful stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty horrible.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot out of those scenes, to be honest.
No.
And again, if that was building to something, if that was telling some story and making some point, and to me the point was just, this is a really, really, really horrible man who's become obsessed with something and will do whatever he needs to get there, and just gives in to any horrible sort of primal urge he gets, and he gets arrested at the end for doing terrible things. That was the most I got out of it. And maybe, as you say, if we knew more about this style of film, we'd be able to see what that was getting at, or that's like a reference to something.
Go ahead.
Oh no, go on.
I was going to change tones.
I was going to talk about the weird sex scenes.
Yeah.
I just watched it tonight, so I haven't had a lot of time to reflect on them, so this is just coming to me now. But every time he has sex with a woman, he seems more and more unstable and unhinged. So he begins, he's entirely bored, he's just lying there.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's
The woman
more disappointed than anything.
seduces
Right?
him first. The second time, he's like, reads some poetry, becomes extremely upset for some reason. Manically upset, and that's why they do it. And then the third, he's very engaged in his own project, and that's what drives it, is that this insane drive. And then we go back to the first woman. Oh, sorry, I'm not really getting anything. I don't know what my point is. Just chronicling the sort of levels of character that we're seeing as we go through it. So I think it did have some kind of drive and purpose.
Yeah, okay.
But whatever that is, I don't really know. And yeah, it was horrible and upsetting. But I did really like it when he threw her in the sea.
And he couldn't do ballet. So, I watched it seriously because I didn't get the whole prestige thing. But I did feel like it was some sort of, like, inversion of the classic storyline. So that, like, at the start. So normally in a film you'd have like a likeable character who goes from mediocrity to greatness, like the hero story. Whereas with this guy, like, he's a really successful businessman, he's doing well, he has an idea for the big project that's going to define his life, and he keeps getting all these opportunities, like people keep opening doors for him to be able to make this, and then it just all goes to shit, and you kind of don't mind because it was a bit horrible anyway. So it was like, instead of like having someone that you were like rooting for and then they went on to succeed, it was someone who you were like entwined with and didn't really like or care about, and then he failed, and he wasn't really like chasing a dream or anything like that. He was just like, oh well, I'm a bit bored now, I'm going to do the big special thing, rather than I need this break to be a success in life, like the underdog story. That was about as much as I could comment on, like, his growth as a character or anything. Just like, I'm pretty sure this is the opposite of all the other films.
He's more of a shrinking as a character.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if there's anything in it, but that was my film.
I think you got something there.
Oh, so it's just...
And the other characters were pretty thin. Like,
Yeah.
I can't say I particularly remember them in any depth, whether they struck me as any significance.
No. And he said that weird thing about when the army sergeant or whatever turned up for the job, and he got excited that this was like just the man for him. I didn't get that at all. Like, what was so special about him in that job?
Yeah.
I was sure that was going to like turn out to be significant, and then there was just nothing.
Which army sergeant?
The guy that he made manager of the car sales place.
Yeah, that was a bit of a nothing storyline in the end.
Yeah. It's just,
A lot of the storylines turned out to be a bit of nothing storylines, didn't they? Like the whole mother thing.
Yeah, that didn't come to anything.
Come to anything. Yeah.
why were they wearing Santa costumes?
I really enjoyed that, actually, that he made them all wear Santa costumes.
It showed us something of his sort of creative but slightly sick mind.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That he can come up with something that possibly is a great gimmick, but also just plough ahead and not caring about who it affects.
And again, I was quite tickled when he fired the entire sales force and then came out himself in a Santa suit ringing a bell.
Yeah,
That
okay.
was quite fun.
I thought that might be like the start of a recovery of his character, the start of some kind of redemption for him, that he would learn his lesson and do
That
something.
just
Now
got
it's just
swept out from under you.
just disappeared.
So you enjoyed his recklessness?
I enjoyed that he clearly did not know what to do with his life, but then has sudden periods of inspiration, and I think he somehow learns from the things that people say to him, because when he was struggling to write the script of the play, someone suggested that he wrote anything, and then once he had something, he would reread it and then correct it. And I think that also happened once the movie was finished, as in, instead of rereading, it was just rewatching the film. And the rewriting process was basically the cutting of the 90 minutes until he got the final 63 minutes of quality thing. And I really enjoyed that there was nothing of importance in the art that he created, because it very much reminded me of the preface of The Picture of Dorian Gray, where Oscar Wilde concludes, "All art is quite useless."
Oh.
Yeah.
And so to me, appreciating the lack of meaning in something is virtuous.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, he was a horrible person, but I did laugh, unironically.
Yeah.
And I did not think this was a pastiche. I know nothing about film studies, so I genuinely enjoyed the film.
Cool. You thought it was funny on like a simple level.
Wait, it was yes, it was certainly funny at times.
Yeah.
At other times, I thought that there were some references to things that certainly happen in real life that are so disturbing that I did think that it was quite unfortunate that they were included in the film. As an example of this is the scene where they are filming a sex scene for his film.
Yes.
And then he interrupts the scene and then has sex with the actress. And I just could not stop thinking of the horrible things that was it Harvey Weinstein was doing to all the actresses. And I thought it was extremely unfortunate that they had a representation of something that clearly happens in real life. Because I would like to think of the movie as it's just a joke.
Okay. and that would be something that we ought not to joke about. Yeah.
Interesting.
We've really covered a lot of bases, haven't we?
Hmm.
Neither any of you saw it as a comedy, but you still loved it. Well, you did kind of see it as a comedy, didn't you? Did you?
Yes, parts of it, and then parts of it were just
But not a spoof comedy.
pure art.
Yeah, so we've got straight comedy, spoof comedy, dead sick. Well, I don't even know what I thought it was. Somehow a serious film that doesn't make you smile even once. Yeah.
And mine was the anti-hero story.
Yeah. I think that was an interesting way of looking at it. Is it just that it didn't really... Is it like someone throwing paint at a canvas and we can all see what we want? Was it just a incoherent mess of just stuff happening and we put our own meanings on it and there was really nothing more? Or was one of us
Like The Name of the Road, which is definitely how I see that.
Oh.
The Name of the Road? Yeah, what was going on there? That was a heavy film, wasn't it?
It came from apparently a very heavy book where the author wanted to play with semiotics. So he gave it a meaningless name, like The Name of the Rose, and said it doesn't mean anything, but people will apply their own interpretations to it, and that's how I want the whole book to be. Is them to read into these difficult, very confusing, incoherent signs and take away different things, because that's the point. I think I've read after. I would never want to watch the film again to see what happened. And I definitely just thought it was some kind of monk murder mystery with no real deep symbolism.
Yeah, I just thought of it as a sort of fairly harrowing drama. But yeah, you can try reading into any of these things, I guess.
I think there's another part of the preface of the picture during great that somehow applies to our conversation.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
It says, diversity of opinion about a work of art shows that the work is new, complex, and vital. When critics disagree, the artist is in accord with himself.
Oh, there we go.
Well, clearly.
I beg to differ from Oscar Wilde on that point.
Well, he would say that your disagreement...
Yeah, I can't win, can I? No.
Really, we should all agree with him.
That would teach him.
Yeah. Then he's also kind of one.
There's a place for controversial art, but I also think that if someone makes a film that 50% of people hate, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good film. It is possible that it's kind of crap and just half of people love it. Like Labyrinth. That's not... that's divisive because...
Fantastic.
Because a load of people love it and a load of people think it was really kind of weird and rubbish. And I don't think that means it's a vital, important work of art. I think that might just mean it's kind of...
But you thought it was crap, so you would think that.
Yeah, I guess so. I think taking... Because the implication there is that if everyone loves it, it's tame and pointless and unnecessary. And I think the fact that more people disliked it can't possibly mean that it's therefore better.
Isn't it better to affect some emotion than just have someone be ambivalent about it?
Yeah, exactly.
I think isn't that what he was going for?
Oh, yeah, I think if there's a piece of art that makes some people shocked or frightened or something, if it inspires some emotion, then that's a good thing.
What about even hatred and disgust and boredom?
And confusion.
Confusion.
I don't think boredom can be a good one. Confusion, maybe. I just feel like I was having to put a lot of work into getting anything out of this film. If I look at The Scream by Edvard Munch, that makes me feel some kind of primal terror, just slightly from looking at it. That inspires some kind of fear in me. And fear's not a nice thing, but that's me really appreciating that work of art. Whereas when I watched this, I was just sort of thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, confusion and boredom, although they're worse to experience, aren't necessarily lower on this sort of hierarchy of emotion that art inspires.
Isn't boredom almost the opposite of emotion?
What interesting question. Is it? Is it a lack of emotion? I would say it was a heavily emotional state that's entirely calculated by a bodily sense of feeling something.
I just think emotion is... Boredom is what I feel when there's no art at all. Boredom is what I feel if we just didn't put a film on. If I just stared at like the TV with nothing on it, I'd have got really bored.
What about Song to Song?
And Song to Song is another good example of a very, very boring thing I'd have been. Yeah, I was pretty bored during that. I'd be pretty bored just watching paint dry.
Yeah, but if you were watching paint dry, you would have allowed your mind to wander. You'd have used your imagination and had thoughts and ideas. Whereas watching this, you were forced to stay on a track that was decided by the filmmaker. So that's a different sort of boredom. That's like a forced boredom.
Yeah. You're trying.
I'm trying
that.
very hard.
I really
So am I,
appreciate that.
actually. But it's subversive, isn't it? Like, surely that's the one thing you do. I'm not even sure this film was going for that, but it's something great. Let's say it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going for. Maybe it is trying to bore you and be like, this man is bored. Let's all be bored with him and confused.
Yeah.
You know? There's just something in that that's interesting. I see what you're doing, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sort of rallying against this film, but I was not bored watching this film.
Really? I was a little bored quite a lot.
I was quite bored.
I
was dozing quite a lot.
Yeah, okay. No, I was put out, and I was disgusted a couple of times, and I was certainly confused, but I don't think I was bored, and that had something going for it.
Oh, well, in that case, it did elicit an emotional response.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I was, I guess, speaking more broadly about things that inspire boredom. So you two both got bored by it at times. Were you bored, Fernando?
Well, I did look at my cell phone at some point.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if I was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually not sure if I was bored by the movie. No,
No, not bored.
no.
Me neither.
Oh no.
I wish it had been 63 minutes long.
Yeah. I liked that it was just slightly under 90. That had something going for
That
it.
was 6 reels, so.
Yeah, I suppose so. So there's the one thing I want to talk about. I think this comes under symbolism. I don't know if you have the bell.
I don't I'm no longer the
Should I-
custodian of the bell.
Should I just go and get it?
Oh yeah, go and get the bell.
Okay, run. Run!
Fast!
I'll be able to keep this opinion to myself. Does this work?
Yeah, what's that? What is it?
I think it's a bubble blower.
Oh.
Oh, so you do that and then you squeeze it?
Lower.
Ah, it's going everywhere. That's quite nasty. Oh, fuck. Just going to put that there. And let the soap make a stain there. I think I was doing that wrong. Yeah.
I think you might be.
Just leave my hand there. Make sure I wash my hands and I don't use soap, right?
Thank you.
I think you have to hold it by the handle.
Oh, do you want to ring the... Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you're
you were
right.
dulling it.
No, it's you. I think you
So you ring a bell? There you go, yeah.
No, you're the symbolism person.
I just can't get the perfect bell ring. Maybe
I
that's...
think that was perfect. Yeah, lovely.
Is that alright?
Just
Yeah.
pretend you're demanding the attention of a servant.
Yes, madam.
Sorry about that. Right, anyway.
The film in the film is the film, right?
Yeah.
So it's a film about someone. So we're watching a film about someone who's listless and the other word you used, malasius, and who decides to do something crazy and does it in a reckless way that harms loads of people around him. And he's chosen to make a film about someone who's bored, listless, and chooses to do something crazy in a reckless way that harms people around him. And they both end up, both the person in the film and the person who's making the film end up very much the worse off for it, either dying or being arrested, with a cop getting the last laugh at the end. I thought there was a clear parallel. He's sort of making a film about himself. And then at the very end, when they roll the credits, we find out that the main character of the film we're watching has the same name as the director. So is the guy saying, I've written a film about myself, writing a film about myself. And that's quite interesting. At least there are actually 3 different levels of guy doing a thing. I found that interesting.
It's interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So everything... So the film within a film had all the same elements as the film we were watching. But then... I don't know, it seemed to me like a weird sort of confession to have this thing at the end saying, oh, this is me, by the way. Like, is this him saying, I've done loads and loads of horrible things, and this is me telling the world about it? I would be horrified to have written that film and named the main character after myself. I
think he might have been pulling our legs. Again, I'm on this kind of it's a spoof.
That's it. I can't understand how any of this makes sense, and the way that does make sense is that it's a spoof. Is he making fun of people who write films with too many layers, or what do you think, Claire?
I was just going to say, if we follow your logic and we accept that, then so the film within a film had a bored guy who kind of didn't do that much wrong. He had a boring job, he made a mistake, and then he messed up how he dealt with that. But the guy making a film about the guy who made a mistake and messed up was a bit horrible and did some kind of horrible things. So surely person making a film about the guy who does some horrible things but makes a film about a guy who made a mistake has done some unimaginably bad things, and this is his confession that he's left the world.
God, so that's even worse.
Yeah. Like the Stephen King novel that's going to be published when he dies. What? That. This is a rumour I've heard, that there's like a final Stephen King novel.
Is it like the New Testament?
I think so, yeah.
Cool.
That's what I've heard anyway. So yeah, maybe I think that's just going to be a massive confession.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the posthumous Stephen King novel.
But there we go. That's what I reckon. It's a massive confession on behalf of the writer. That he's, I don't know, a serial killer.
Maybe that's why this film was so hard to come by, and why it's just disappeared into obscurity, because we didn't look it up, but actually he's a murderer and no one wants to watch his film. And actually, this Patrick Warburton's really famous, but no one's ever seen it. Yeah, I've never heard of it.
I've heard
it's mostly in TV stuff. Yeah. Mostly from the 90s, I think. I don't think he's really he's big anymore.
I should think not after that. Do you think anything of the director being the same as the main character?
I thought it was an excellent idea.
Is it just like a joke at the end of the film, or?
I did think that it was there to say that the film itself was, like it was probably the same thing. The same film. Well, it's not the same, not essentially this. I suppose that it's not identical, but it was a similar film to the one that was being made by the protagonist, and the fact that he was also in the film, it was his amateur idea on how to make a movie about nothing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I think the film might have been about nothing. While we're on symbolism.
What do you both mean about nothing?
I mean that the point was that it didn't mean anything. That it tried to layer it with lots of symbolism on purpose that actually meant nothing. That was just a joke. Just to make fun of this genre.
And that's why we had all of these loose ends that never got tied up. And...
exactly. That was the point. That it was pointless.
Right.
Interesting.
But I think you get
Have we finished discussing the film then?
I think I've said everything I had to say about it.
I'm surprised we got as much out of it, to be honest.
It was weird. I kind of liked it. Laughed a couple of times. Yeah.
Weird. I still don't know.
Next time it's my turn to choose, I'm going to pick just watching a TV with static for an hour and a half and see what we get out of that. Did you notice how the thing is all kept moving from side to side? Oh, I thought they were moving up and down. That's interesting.
I focused on one dot. The story of that dot. Oh, he found his family.
Maybe all of it was just nothing. Thanks for choosing it, Claire.
Yeah, I never would have watched this otherwise, and I'm glad I have.
Not. I want an hour and a half back.
Cool. Shall I play the music? It's loading. Come on. Fuck.
Brilliant.
I really enjoy how we punctuate that song with expletives. Oh, shit.
Oh my god, oh crap. Yay!
Yay!
Andale! Oh, don't skip. Nearly dropped one. I think that should be the one we picked.
Oh, I need to pick. Dun 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 dun.
Claire!
Oh!
Promise I didn't do that on purpose. Oh no. This is going to be another panic decision.
I can decide later.
No.
It has to be now.
Jaws.
Jaws versus Rocky 12.
Oh, I'd watch that.
Just like everyone to know, I picked one in advance.
Oh, man. You're so organised. I
Will
think
still. Oh, sorry, go on.
we should watch Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, yes.
Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah.
Okay.